Hey, welcome back to the Cop Kitchen, or should I say, I'm back. So I took some time off. It was summer, and I had a bunch of outside projects to do, so I took care of those, and now it's fall, and we're back in the Cop Kitchen. So thanks for coming back. So some of those projects that I did included some storage cabinets in my mudroom, some flower boxes for my patio, and a challenge coin cabinet for the police department for my chief. And I've got a bunch more projects coming up, but they'll have to wait. But right now in the Cop Kitchen, it's angel food cake time. Yep, as promised. So a while back, a few months ago, a friend of mine, I won't mention any names, Toby, mentioned that she made a angel food cake that she remembers her mom making, but it didn't quite come out the same, as I'm sure mine won't like my mom when she made it. But we're going to try. A lot of different techniques, right down to measuring and mixing. We'll give it a try, see what happens. Not a lot of ingredients. It's only 6 ingredients in this thing, but it's all about how you put them together. So, without further ado, you know what's next. Let's get started. It's good to have the Cop Kitchen apron back on. Here we go. So, let's get started with the ingredients, and I'll talk about each one as we go through them. So, first thing is 1 cup of cake flour. Cake flour, not all-purpose flour. This is what I used. Any kind will do. 1.5 cups of sugar. Extra fine or super fine sugar, not powdered sugar. You can get this at the IGA or whatever grocery store you've got. Extra fine, and we're even going to make it even finer. I'll show you how we do that. And now it calls for, most recipes will call for 10 egg whites. So 10 egg whites, what you really need is 1.25 cups of egg whites. So, and the reason is if you put 10 egg whites, use 10 egg whites, you might use jumbo eggs, and they might actually be jumbo, unlike the jumbos you get some stores, and they're little ones. So you may only need 8, or they may be small and you need 12. So measure your egg whites out until you get 1.25 cups. That's what you need to do. So 1.25 teaspoons of cream of tartar. That's easy, no explanation there. 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla. Now the vanilla, remember there's only 6 ingredients and there's only 1 flavor in it. You don't get the flavor from the sugar. You certainly don't get it from the flour. You get it from the vanilla. So maybe spend a couple extra dollars and get some really good vanilla. Okay, so a couple more things before we actually start mixing things up. I mentioned the eggs, that most recipes call for 10 egg whites. Well, again, you want 1.25 cups. I had jumbo eggs and I only needed to use 8. Now you may not think that it would make a difference with 2 more egg whites, but it will, or less. It'll make your the texture of the cake a little different. Remember, this is a meringue. This is a lot of egg whites, so it's a meringue with a little bit of flour in it to make it a cake. So we need to make sure that we have the right amount of egg whites. Another thing, if you go to Walmart or wherever you buy cake pans and you pick up one of these little babies, no, it says on it that it's for angel food cake pan. Really? It also says non-stick. Yeah, no. Anybody that makes angel food cake knows that you can't use a non-stick, and I'll tell you why. Okay, this, no. You need this. Just good old aluminum. I think it's aluminum. You need it to stick. The cake needs to rise up and stick to the sides. You don't want a non-stick. You want me to tell you why? Because when you cool this, notice these little feet on this? When you cool this cake, you cool it upside down. Oh yeah, I remember my mom, she used to put it on a bottle of some sort and let it hang there. It needs to hang upside down. Now if you've got the little feet, then you can just put it on your counter and it will cool that way. If you don't, and you cool it this way, your cake will fall in on itself. No. And if you use non-stick, guess what's going to happen when you tip it upside down? Your cake's going to go poof onto your counter. Now, set this aside. No preparation to this pan at all. Love it. You don't put any butter, you don't put any oil, you don't flour it. Guess what? All ready to go, just like that. The cake needs to cling to the side. And when it's done, I'll show you what we do after that. So, with that said, you see I got a food processor here. Again, use it if you can, if you have one. If not, I'm sure it'll be fine. However, what we're going to do is we're going to put the cake flour and half of the extra fine sugar in it, and we're going to whirl it. Process for a while. We're going to make it even finer. And then after that, this is a process, but it's going to be good. After that, we're going to sift the flour and sugar combination at least 4 or 5 times. So we're going to sift it into one bowl, and then we're going to dump it in, and we're going to sift it in another bowl. I'm going to do that 3 or 4 times just to get it really fine. So let's give that a shot. Here we go. 1 cup of cake flour. And half of the sugar. And you can pulse it or whirl it, get it nice and fine. Whiz, whiz, whiz. Okay, I ran that for a couple minutes actually. Now we'll go ahead and give it our first sift. It's pretty fine. It's almost like a powdered sugar now. There's one. Yeah, you might think, yeah, that's a lot of work. Well, if you don't want to sift it, don't sift it. I don't care. It'll still come out good, I'm sure. Okay, sifting is done. Now I'm going to change over to my stand mixer and we'll whip those eggs up. What we want is a stiff peak on the eggs. It's a meringue again. And then we'll fold that flour into that. Add the vanilla, cream of tartar, a little bit of salt. Boom, we're done. Preheat your oven to 350 degrees. I'll be back. Alrighty then, we got my mixing bowl. A couple things to go over with the mixing bowl. I'm using a glass bowl, but if you're using a metal bowl, same thing applies. You may want to take just a few drops of either lemon juice or white vinegar, and with a paper towel, just wipe out your bowl. You don't want any grease or anything in there, or your meringue will not come to stiff peaks. Same thing or another thing, I shouldn't say the same thing, another thing with the egg whites, I've got 1 1/4 cups. When you're separating your yolks from your egg white, make sure you do it in a separate bowl, one at a time, and then dump it into your measuring cup. When you do that, you can check to make sure there's not one speck of yolk in your egg white, because that's protein and your meringue will not again come to stiff peaks, and you don't want to waste 10 eggs, 8 eggs, 12 eggs, however many egg whites you're going to use because of a speck of egg yolk. None in mine. So, into the bowl. You can use a stand mixer or a hand mixer with this. I've got my stand mixer with my whisk attachment. And what we're going to do is we're going to start at a slow speed with this. We're going to add our cream of tartar. Salt. And the vanilla. When that gets frothy, then we're going to start adding our sugar, a tablespoon at a time, very, very slow. Those be stiff peaks, very nice, perfect. So now what we're going to do, oven's hot. Recommend starting your oven right around this time. About 1/4 cup at a time, sprinkle your flour mixture on, and we're going to fold this flour in very gently. We got gazillion bubbles in that egg white, in that meringue, and we don't want to bust them up. So go down to the bottom, come up, cut down through the middle, spin your bowl. Just keep doing that gently till all that flour is mixed in, and keep doing that with the remaining flour. Once it's all mixed, we're going to pour it into our unprepared pan. Smooth it out. Okay, once the cake is in the cake pan, take a knife or a little wooden skewer, toothpick, and just go around it just to break up any bubbles, big bubbles, air pockets that might be in there, and also it'll make sure that the cake settles to the bottom. And then it's in the oven for about 40 minutes, or until it's nice and golden brown on the top and spongy to the touch. Okay, 40 minutes in the oven till it's nice and golden brown, and then we'll take a look at it. I'll be back. Perfectly golden brown. Remember, you have to cool it upside down. I know, crazy, right? Let it cool for at least 1 hour, or at room temperature. It's got to be at room temperature. And then we'll show you how to take it out of the pan. Another little trick. I'll be back. So it's been cooling for a little over an hour at room temperature, still upside down. Oh, it is cool. The next thing we need to do is get it out of the pan. Don't just try to pull it out, rip it out. You need to go around the outside edge, either with a thin sharp knife, but I use this offset spatula or big one. It's all the way down to the bottom. Just go around the edge, real easy. Okay. Once it's all done around, you can lift it out. Oh my goodness. Now what you need to do, and I'll probably use a knife. Okay, around the center tube, I'm using just a little smaller knife. Get around there. Then you have to do the same around the bottom. Once you've done that, invert it onto a plate. Just like that. A little of the brownness came off, but what we're going to do is we're going to dust it with a little powdered sugar. Now decorate it with some fruit when it's completely done. Maybe give it a little try with a little fresh whipped cream. So here it is, the finished product. It smells really good. I put some fruit on it. Got blackberries, raspberries, blueberries, and the taste test. A little raspberry, some fresh whipped cream. Oh, sweet mother of pearl. That is good. The raspberry is good too. Piece of advice, use good vanilla. Oh, this is fluffy as can be. Look at that. Yeah, use good vanilla. It's the only flavor in there, vanilla. And sweetness, not too much, but the fluffiness and the texture of the cake. You won't go wrong with this one. I guarantee you. So, until next time, don't forget, this one was for you, Toby. Give it a try. Let me know how you make out. Also, hit the like, subscribe, hit the bell, and leave a comment. Let me know how you made out with this one. This one I enjoyed doing. It reminded me again, childhood, the smells, the whole thing. Thanks, Toby, for bringing it to my attention and giving me the inspiration to actually give it a try. It was well worth it. Till next time. Be safe out there. Wash your hands. We're still in that. Later.